Vibe Talks. Vibe Talks. More than just music.
Hey, everybody. This is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for Vibe 105 with a Sports VIBEtalks segment where we're going to be talking all things CPL today. To help me out, I'm happy to be joined by my guest. He's the head coach of York United FC and a Canadian soccer legend. He's Jimmy Brennan. How you doing, Jimmy?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. And Jimmy, this is a big time for your club. 3 seasons in, and now you finally get a playoff berth there. Of course, when the season starts, that's the goal to make the playoffs. But when that becomes a reality, what was just going through your mind there?
I think it was a reward for the hard work that the players put in. I think everybody knows how difficult it was for us, especially here in Toronto. With COVID and us not having a proper preseason, only having a few weeks to prepare, not even. And then going into a bubble for 6 weeks with a young squad, a lot of new players. It's been great because the players bought into the way that we wanted to play. We've adapted as coaches to get the best out of these players and the young players. And they fought throughout the season. And we got into the playoffs. So, yeah, we're very happy as a club and delighted where we are. And now the hard work begins again, and it's about us, getting that forge and looking to get a win and get ourselves into a final. We've got a great opportunity, and this is what it's about now.
Yeah, of course. You mentioned Forge there. They've been the only champion in the CPL. So how difficult is it to prepare for a team that's had so much games under their belt, whether it be in CONCACAF or the CPL?
Well, I mean, fortunately, we've played them an awful lot throughout this season. So we know the type of team that they are. We know what they're all about. We know their players. And it's always a competitive match. It's a good footballing match when the two teams play. We've got our game plan. We know exactly what we want to do and how we want to accomplish it. And we just have to go out there on Sunday and show it and make sure that it all comes together.
And just mentioning there, like the playoffs, it's single elimination. So does that make things more easier for you as a coach? Like you're just preparing that mindset for one game, you go in, get the best result, or would you have preferred maybe a home at home against Forge?
Look, it doesn't matter to us, whether it's a single or a double, but it's one game. We'll prepare ourselves for that one game, make sure mentally we're right. And we have to know that you've got one crack at this. You got one shot, it's one game, and the best team on the day will win.
For those just joining us here on Vibe 105, this is Giancarlo Aulino being joined by Jimmy Brennan, head coach of York United FC. And Jimmy, this team that you have is a very young squad, and coming into the year, maybe you would have hoped for some of the players, 1 or 2 of them to come up and have a breakout year, but you've been fortunate that you had many of them. You had about 5 or 6, had some great years, and you're leading the league actually in minutes for that U21. So how does that make you feel that you're a big part of not only the growth of Canadian soccer, but just at the young youth levels that are seeing this and seeing their development?
Yeah, I think first you've got to give credit to the players. They've got the talent, and it's up for me to me and my staff to get the best out of them, put them in a healthy environment where they feel comfortable, and nurture them when you have to. And it's been great. They've been a pleasure to work with. They're constantly improving. They always want to listen and learn, and it's made it easier for us. I'm delighted to see where a lot of these young players are at right now and how much they've improved. And by us getting into the playoffs, this is another challenge for them. It's another experience for them to understand what playoff football is all about now. So yeah, we've been fortunate that these young guys have really I want to say they've really kind of grown into their own and have played with that freedom where they can showcase their talent and they can express themselves. And it's been great to see, really has been. And I think as a group and as a club, yeah, we're very proud of these young guys for taking that challenge on and seeing where they are now.
And this season, obviously, like you guys, second year, you go to PEI for the Island Games, and now this third season, starts off in Winnipeg in a bubble. So what was a mental toll you think that put on your roster, and how were you able to cope with that?
Yeah, it was difficult. I won't lie to you. You know, if it was difficult for myself and the staff, it's 100% difficult for the players. You know, there was a lot of games in there. Not a lot of room to move around. We couldn't go out into the city, couldn't go for walks, and you know, you're stuck in our hotel room for 6-7 weeks. So it was very difficult. And then obviously same thing out in PEI. And you've got to give credit to the players for getting through that and being mentally strong. I thought they came away with some great experiences that I think in football we would have never thought we would have had. And it dealt with the challenge. I'm quite proud of how they manage themselves with these situations. And we told them flat out, we just don't know how you guys did this, but you know, we take our hats off to you because it's been incredible what you've been through as young footballers.
And this is a really dynamic squad. A lot of players like Max Ferrari has really jumped out to me as one that you've had in different positions, right back in an attacking role, and he's thrived there. When you're making your tactics, though, a lot of the time we notice the 4-2-3-1. What comes into that decision when you're with a dynamic roster like this to get the most out of their play?
Well, you know, we change an awful lot as the game goes on. You know, we'll start, you know, when we're defending low blocks of, you know, a 4-4-2. When we're attacking, we're in a 4-2-3-1. And then at times you'll see in a game where we shift into a back three. So we have more or less end up with, a 3-2-4-1, you know, so we're constantly changing and adjusting as games go on because the game dictates what you're going to do next. But you've got to make sure that the players can adapt to it and the players can buy into it. Max has been great. Isaiah, Lowell, Ija, all these guys, you know, they're quick learners. They understand the game. And like I said, they're buying into what we're doing. And yeah, Max has played in numerous positions, but for me, I've always said a good footballer can play anywhere. And I think with all these young players, it doesn't matter where we ask them to play, they'll go out there and do a job.
Yeah. And speaking of that, like good footballers will play anywhere. You were a big example of that. Your career, you've been overseas and playing in Europe. A lot of players now, they're doing the opposite. They're coming from overseas, like Julian Ulbricht, and he's coming here to York United. What advice do you give a player like that who they're young in age and they're coming over from overseas to play in a new environment, new country? So what advice do you give to some of those players?
Look, it's always difficult when you go to a new country, new culture, new football, new dressing room. But you've got to, you've got to give them credit for taking that leap at a young age and saying, you know what, I'm going to go live somewhere new and I'm going to go experience a different culture. And we're fortunate because with football, you can do that. Football, you can go anywhere in the world and play. And for me, it's hoping that they settle quick. Normally it takes a while for foreign players to adapt. And I think they've adapted quite well. And then for me, it's just getting them to settle in and just enjoy their football. I mean, look, we're fortunate that we get to be involved in this game, and these young players get to travel the world and play in different countries doing a sport that they love. So, they've been great, the foreigners that have come in.
For sure. And once again, for those just joining us here on Vibe 105, this is Giancarlo Aulino being joined by Jimmy Brennan of York United. And Jimmy, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Canadian men's national team. Big match there against Mexico. For a long time, you were part of that squad there that had success in 2000 and all throughout the 2000s being a part of that program. What was going through your mind when you saw them take out Mexico, 50,000 people and a snowstorm? So just to top it all off there.
As a Canadian footballer, I was very proud. Very proud. I look at that squad and I think that's probably the best squad we've ever had in this country. And there's nothing stopping them right now. They've got such a belief. They're buying into what John Herdman's asking and his staff. And you can see they're very cohesive and they're playing without fear. And you know, to play against a powerhouse like Mexico and do what they did against them, it was great to see. And it's even better when you wake up the next morning and you see that Canada's on top of the table right now. So they're in a great spot. They're an exciting team to watch, dynamic. They want to get forward. They create chances, and you just feel that every time they get on the ball, something's going to happen. So I'm loving where the program is right now. And look, at the end of the day, you want to see this country get to a World Cup. You want to see them win Gold Cups. You want to see them win as much as they can, because the more we can win as a country and get ourselves to the biggest tournament in the world, the World Cup, it only helps and grow this game. And you can see the last couple of games, the attendances, they were through the roof. Just people throughout the country flying into Edmonton to support this team. Even when they're in Toronto, they get great support. So it's amazing to see where this country is right now with this program.
And now, have you noticed maybe a climb in attendance or even registrations for young academies around the GTA?
I'm not sure, because I'm not involved with that. But I would like to think that the buzz that the national team's creating, it's getting more kids involved in the game. I think now, with the games being mainstream and hopefully we can get our league more and more mainstream as well and get it out there. I mean, One Soccer's doing a great job. But the more people that we can get watching these games, you start to get more people fall in love with the sport, and it gives hope for these young Canadian kids too, that they've got an opportunity here to play in the Canadian Premier League, and fulfill their dream of being a professional footballer, and hopefully one day, becoming the next Alphonso Davies. And that's our goal right now, is to grow this league, give these kids an opportunity to play this game, and hopefully one day wear that national team jersey, represent Canada.
And this pathway to being a professional, the CPL is a great benchmark for that, especially now when you were coming up, there was no CPL. So who are some of the coaches that really motivated you and got the best out of you? And I know you had a youth career there in Woodbridge Strikers. So who are some of the coaches around you there?
Yeah, I had Joe Randall was a great coach for me and mentor. Joe Schiraldi, Lorenzo Steele. I had a lot of good coaches, and I think it was because of their passion that they had for the game. It wore off on me, and I started having a huge passion for the game. They were always talking about the game, and I think that's the thing as a coach, when you have a passion for the game and you love it and you enjoy being out in that field and teaching the youth, the youth, they feed off of that and they thrive off of it. And you help grow their passion as well. And look, I was fortunate. I had some good young coaches, and I had some great times and great years in Woodbridge. And just by them, they helped me eventually get into the youth national teams and get to a World Cup at the under 17 level. So and also play in, we won CONCACAF in the under 23s, but everybody's got to play a role along the way of being a professional footballer. It's not just your pro coaches, it's youth coaches, it's your parents, it's your friends, it's your aunts and uncles, it's everybody involved. They play a small role to get you where you are today. So you can never forget that.
And did you play there at Rainbow Creek or Stadio Olimpico Woodbridge?
That was our San Siro, Rainbow Creek.
Any memories there? Because I know a lot of people, they're surprised at just some of the battles maybe from back then, how many national team players played there. Were there any memorable games that stick out to you?
There was a lot. Like all the guys that I grew up with, there was always big games playing at Rainbow Creek. There was just the smell of the place, the grass, and it was always cut perfect, and there was always good crowds there. And it was a special place growing up. And remember, we used to have the tournament every year, the Little World Cup. We'd have teams from all over the place coming to play in this tournament. And I think the big games were, the big Ontario Cup games. Those were huge for us. And those were the games that you're always looking to play in, especially if we can get the home games at Rainbow Creek, because we knew a lot of the locals would just come out, have a coffee and watch a game and supporting a youth club. So it was a special place growing up for sure, Rainbow Creek.
Yeah, and just even on that topic, like Woodbridge in the Euro Cup especially, everyone going down there at Market Lane and celebrating, and it just brings a question, when do you think that those York region locals that go on and celebrate What would it take for them to go to the CPL game and go to York University, York Lions Stadium, and see York United play?
I think it's first of all, it's getting them out to a game, come and see the standard, see how good the football is, because a lot of people that go out and watch it for the first time, they end up coming back because they can't believe the standard, how quick it is, and it's a great day out, and it'd be nice to get a few of those people coming to support the club, and obviously them knowing that this is your local pro football club, and come on out and support it and watch all the young talent that we have playing for this club.
And a couple final questions here with Jimmy Brennan of York United FC, the head coach. And like with the YRSA being involved, like, do you think there should be maybe a partnership with York United? And basically, like, a lot of people are saying if York United are playing, it should stop other leagues from maybe having a rep game that same night, and it will probably drag on and maybe have attendance go up. Do you think that's something that would?
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to have the logistics. I don't know how they can make that work with so many games and shifting schedules. But yeah, if they could do something like that, it would be great. And I'm sure behind the scenes they've had those conversations. But yeah, look, I mean, the more support that we could get from the community, the better it would be, because, if you ask our players, they would love nothing more than to be playing in front of a full house week in and week out.
Yeah, and like it just goes back to even your time at Toronto FC, because it all starts at some place, and it wasn't like 30,000 when you first started in Toronto. A lot of people were saying like it's still a hockey country, and the Leafs and Raptors will still get that attendance, but we're seeing now the shift with the national team that 50,000 people would go see soccer. So as someone who was part of that program, do you think it's inspiring to see that maybe people's opinion are shifting and Canada might even be a soccer nation?
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, if you look at Canada as a whole, it's very diverse. We have people from all around the world, and as soon as you step out of Canada, whatever country you go to in the world, they love football. Football's the number one sport. And when Toronto FC, when it started off, they were getting 19,000, 20,000 in games, and then when they started winning MLS Cups and getting to CONCACAF Champions League finals, they were getting 35,000. So the passion is here in this country for the game. And like I said before, the more we can grow it, the more we start winning, like our national team's doing. Everybody wants to be a part of success, don't they? So, if we can keep pushing in the right direction, I think you'll start seeing more people coming out to games. And even with Toronto FC, you walk around the city or you go to the local park and local games, you always see people wearing TFC gear. And it will take time for the CPL to do the exact same, where, the brands do get out, and it'd be nice to see them all wearing York United as well in the community. So it takes time to build. I think with Toronto FC now, they're there. Everybody knows about Toronto FC. They know what a club it is. And now it's just, it's growing to CPL and getting it to where it needs to be. And that's at a high level, and get all the eyes on our games now.
Well, on that note, Jimmy, how can our listeners and viewers here follow you on social media?
Say that again?
How can our listeners and viewers follow you on social media? You're very active on Twitter. I don't know if anyone knows of that.
I'm actually not. I'm definitely not. I think I tweet once every 2 years, and same with my social, the Instagram stuff. So you can find me, Jimmy Brennan. I don't even know what it is. I post once in a blue moon.
Well, Jimmy, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on here on Vibe 105 to talk all things CPL, York United, Canadian men's national team, and I wish you all the best in your playoff match with Forge.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
And now back to your Vibe 105.